new breed of young entrepreneurs have made the decision to take their destinies in their hands. They are determined to not only improve their lives, but to also positively impact the lives of others. With a burning determination to succeed, they are establishing businesses in diverse sectors of the Nigerian economy, including the media, information technology, entertainment, and manufacturing. This series examines their journey to imminent success. Welcome to the Future Force. Open Stages Incentives is a geographic information systems provider and training company founded by its Chief Executive Officer, Ron Oseji. Ron has a degree in surveying and geoformatics from the University of Lagos. He is also an alumni of both the Nigerian Institute of Management and the Pan-African University. He began his professional career in an engineering company, but quickly came to the realization that he wanted to do something else. He made the decision to change jobs and made the switch to a newly established company in spite of the risks associated with such a decision. After a 2-year period, he felt he had gathered the experience he required and he left once more, but this time to start his own company.
I worked in a number of organizations. One of the first few places I worked at was an engineering firm where we did engineering designs. So I was gainfully employed for about 3 to 4 years. After I left there, I joined a startup company. Interestingly, at the time I was joining the startup organization, I had about 4 different job offers. One of them was going to take me out of the country. 2 others were going to take me out of Lagos. But I decided to take the 4th one, which was taking me to a startup firm. The company had only been around for about 5 to 6 months. But because I knew I needed to gain some amount of business knowledge and how to run a company, I decided to join that startup organization. So in joining that startup, I saw real life how to actually grow a new business. The process of putting a business plan together, the process of approaching clients and building a clientele list. So I saw all that real life. So I was there for about 2 years. It was when I left, I eventually started Open Stages Incentives.
Ron's decision to leave paid employment and start his own business was driven by the belief that he had gathered the skills required to manage a successful business. He had helped grow a startup into a successful company and in the process acquired several skills that he was eager to implement in his own business.
I was still working, but interestingly, the company I was working with at that time started to make some progress. But of course, different managerial styles, different ways of doing things, different perspectives started to kick in. And there was some amount of divergence. And it was at that point that I started to think to myself, it is time to move on. And then also seeing that I have been a critical part of growing a new business and it had now begun to thrive. So that began to inform me that it was time to move on. Seeing that I have built some competencies, I saw that I was able to bring something to the table and it was yielding the desired results. So it was at that point that I decided it was time to move on. Now, moving on, it wasn't like I had any capital saved up anywhere, but one of the things I could leverage on was sheer determination and knowing that I could do something with the skills that I had acquired. So I ventured out and I started from my dining table. Interestingly, round about that same time, I was getting married. So these were like 2 different ventures, venturing out into business and then also becoming a family man. I had one client, so I started with just one client. and I started to deliver on a few things for him. So I started with that on my dining table with my laptop. Those were the tools I had and my brain. So I started to put my proposals together, started to write my applications for jobs, for business, and I started sending them out. So the process started like that. I think I was on that dining table for maybe about 3 to 4 months before I eventually got an office space. Small office, just one room, but it was something. And of course, being out there and getting that space, it also affected how I did business. It gave me a more serious outlook, because each time you step into that small room, it meant you were there for business. So you could focus, I could concentrate on what I wanted to do. And when my clients wanted to meet me somewhere, I had an official business address where they could come to. So that changed the perspective and the scope of what I was doing as well. But you can't take away the fact that it all started from that dining table. It all started from having an idea. It started from having a dream, having the vision that this is something I could transform into economic goods. And something I have learned over time as well is it's not even about having capital. Because a lot of us, what we think initially is it's a lack of capital that businesses don't succeed or that businesses can't run. But I have discovered that it's knowledge. It's just having the right kind of knowledge. When you have the right kind of knowledge, then you can actually go through the process of converting that knowledge into something that can now bring in the capital. And that's the whole essence of putting the business plan together. You need knowledge to do that. The process of putting that business plan together helps you get knowledge. You have to do a lot of things. You have to do your market analysis. That takes a lot of research. You have to analyze competition. That takes a lot of research. You even have to analyze your industry. That takes a lot of research, and that's information gathering. So the process of doing that helps you to even see how well that business will do. And when you approach anybody for capital, any credible investor, the first thing he or she would ask you for is the plan. Where is your business plan? So if you have not acquired the right information or the knowledge to put that business plan together, then there is no way you will get the right kind of funding. Because if you don't have the right kind of information and you get capital, you will waste it.
The initial aim of establishing Open Stages Incentives, also known as OSI, was to create a company that specialized in the provision of geographic information systems. But it has since diversified to include the provision of training services. OSI now provides training courses in entrepreneurship, financial reporting, customer service, and project management. They also assist small businesses improve their knowledge of government policies and the potential effects on their business.
We started out as a technology company focusing on geographic information systems in the area of vehicle tracking, vehicle navigation, digital mapping, everything that has to do with spatial solutions, location-based information. But as we started out, over time, based on some competencies that I had also acquired in the area of management, in the area of business consulting, we have now diversified. We have moved from just offering solutions that have to do with location to business solutions, to software development. So at the moment, coupled with offering solutions in the area of location, geographic information technology, we also offer business solutions. We do trainings, we do business plan development, and other related activities. So essentially what we have here is our online vehicle tracking platform. As you can see here, we have a number of vehicles that have been listed. Those are what we call the GPS numbers, the global positioning numbers. This particular vehicle that we're seeing here is currently in Nairobi, Kenya. And you can see it sits on the Google Earth platform. and we can see the streets and various locations. So if I needed to find out where this vehicle is right now, I just log into the online platform, select that vehicle, and then it brings up the information. It even shows the speed of travel, it shows where it is, it shows the GPS signal that's available, then the time, and if the device is on or off. So these are some of the applications that we have on vehicle tracking. If you do not want to use the online platform, you can also track via your mobile phone if you have a web-enabled phone. So on the online tracking platform, there are two ways of operating it. One, you can decide to track yourself, or you can call the call center and the client service person will track on your behalf. So if you're able to track, we'll give you all the access codes and instructions on how to do it. But if you want us to do it on your behalf, we can also do that.
Ron's business faces a number of challenges similar to those faced by small businesses operating in a challenging environment such as Nigeria. But his opinion is that the most negative impact on such businesses are policies he considers unfavorable to their growth.
Some of the challenges of running a business in Nigeria would include things like government policies. For instance, starting out, it was very difficult to even begin the process of registering a company. The process is so intense and it takes a while. And some people get discouraged along the way and they never get to the end of that process. So this can be very difficult. Then policies change. Policies against businesses also, it doesn't help them to thrive. Taxation. I've often heard in other countries, in some countries, how small businesses get 5-year tax holidays, but we don't have that kind of luxury here. So the fact that you even need to pay tax at such a young age of the business, it can be devastating. Then if you now do not know that there are certain things you need to do at the onset of the business, it could cripple your business when you do find out, because there are penalties, and the norm is that ignorance is no excuse. So if you have set up a business and you have started the business for about a year or so, and then you suddenly find out that you're supposed to have registered for tax and you did not, apart from paying the tax that you have not remitted thus far, you'll pay penalties as well. And these monies could amount to a lot, enough to cripple your business. So things like that are very challenging and discouraging experiences in running a business in the country. And a lot of regulations. You need to get a license for a business that you're into. The process of getting the license is a whole new ball game. And then the fees associated with getting that license is another ball game, because a lot of the time when you started the business and you're running it, you need capital to grow the business. You may not even have enough capital for the business process itself. And then the licensing and the process of acquiring the licenses is another issue. So from personal experience, I know a lot of people that have started to do business but have given up because of licensing issues here and there. Most significant challenge till date would be getting the right kind of skill set, the right kind of employees or staff to work with, because you find out that for a lot of small businesses, even though we're small businesses, there's a high rate of employee turnover, and that's because it's very difficult to find people that have the kind of competencies that you require. And I'm sure it's also directly related to the cost. The more qualified the personnel, the more expensive he or she is. But what I have learned, and I have learned to deal with that, is to ensure that they are also empowered. Have we taken out the time? Have we spent the resources? Have we taken out the energy or the time to empower them to deliver the way we want them to? And then I think it's also a generational issue. Because what we have discovered is a lot of the young people of our generation are not interested in personal development. A lot of us, I would put it like that, when we start out, are just interested in personal gains, in financial returns, right from an early stage. So we need to begin transforming the way they think to first thinking about empowering themselves and being able to deliver quality service. And then the rewards would naturally follow. I mean, I am a classic example. Like I said, when I joined the startup, I actually worked for over 6 months without pay. But I knew that I was going in there to develop myself. And that is what has brought me here today.
What Ron regards as his most significant achievement to date was his ability to win a grant from the Nigerian government, which provided the funds that enabled him expand his business. To Ron, this was the ultimate validation of his ideas and confirmation that he now owned a credible business.
Emerging as one of the winners of the You-Win business plan competition, when the idea came up, interestingly, a friend of mine told me about it. And then I went online and I researched and I put in my application, and I made it through the first stage. And looking at the kind of business I do, geographic information technology, is still relatively new in our environment. So a lot of people don't know about it. And one of the challenges I've also had is generating the right kind of awareness for what we do. So when I put in that application, and I emerged as one of the winners, went through the first phase, the second phase, and emerged as one of the winners. It just told me that I had something to offer. It told me that what I was doing was credible, because from our understanding, the business plan competition was analyzed by professionals from outside of the country. In fact, we met with some of them during one of the sessions we had, one of the training sessions. And for me to emerge as one of the winners just told me that there was a service that someone needed. There was a service that was recognized. There's a business that has now become credible. Because that was credibility for me, that I just had a stamp of approval, not just from the federal government of Nigeria, but from business professionals from outside of the country. So that was just the starting point of so many other things that have happened.
Geographic information systems are still relatively new in Nigeria when compared with the rest of the world. And for that reason, competition is not intense. But Ron expects the sector to grow with time and is determined to make OSI a major player with a reputation for offering efficient and affordable services.
I'm playing in 2 industries. I'm playing in the information communication technology industry, but my exact segment would be geographic information systems. For now, that is still an area that people are just beginning to embrace in this environment. So the challenge there is a lot of people are not aware. Even for those that are aware, they are not so sure how effective this technology is. For instance, one of the things that we do is offer vehicle tracking services. When a new technology comes in, it takes a little bit of time for people to catch on. But once they do, our environment is so unique that once they see that someone is in a line of business and it seems to be generating some substantial amount of revenue, everybody goes in. So 5 years ago, competition was minimal, but today there's an improved amount of competitors. So you see that more people are coming into that business day by day. But then we have a unique selling point, and that is to ensure that what we do is, one, it is reliable and it is also affordable. And then we also do things like maps. We make maps. We're looking at bringing different types of maps, different forms of special information. You want maps for public health. You want maps to show you where you have a predominance of malaria in the country. We're putting that together. You want maps to show you where you have hospitals, private hospitals, public facilities, public sanitary facilities, all those kind of things. And the beauty about having maps is it's graphic. You take one look at it, you have a clear understanding of what it is that you need to do. So those are some of the things that we're doing. One of the maps we just rolled out, map of Nigeria, showing various state governors, past presidents, various local government areas. And these are things you can use for teaching aids. I mean, you put them up in the school, the kids look at it and they have a graphic understanding of who is who and what is where. The tourist map of Nigeria. One of the things we're also working on in that regard is like a map directory. You have a map that shows different businesses, where they are in clips and so on. So anyone within that area can pick up the map and can find his or her way to a business location. So the maps will come with an index that just directs you on where it is. So you have a straightaway understanding of where it is that you need to go.
Ron has the following advice for entrepreneurs intending to enter the world of geographic information systems.
I'd advise people going into some of the industries I am currently playing to first begin the process of information gathering. Start to build competencies for what it is that you want to do. If you rush in, you will definitely rush out. I studied engineering in school, but I'm now taking managerial programs. I'm training on management and things like that. So I just knew that I needed that knowledge for where I was headed. I always had that vision that one day I was going to run an organization. And not just run an organization, but run a successful one. And in order for me to do that, I needed to get knowledge. So that is just it. Knowledge first. Every other thing would come in.
Ron's vision is to grow Open Stages Incentives into a global brand. His strategy includes developing international partnerships which would enable him provide services in countries outside Nigeria. He also wants to help groom a new generation of entrepreneurs through OSI's training courses and mentorship programs.
The vision for OSI, for our business, is to take what we do outside of the shores of our country. Right now, we're exploring international partnerships. We want to take it global. We want to play not just in this environment. We want to cater to everybody across the world. So we don't want to be a local company. We have started out this way, but we know that there's a lot more that we can do. So we have already started the process of moving in that direction. So in 10 years, Open Stages Incentives will be a global brand. That's where we're headed. We want to ensure that, say, over the next couple of years, that our products are available every home, every store, everybody is using our products or our services. Also that we've been able to impact on our generation, offer credible training services. As a matter of fact, one of the things we're currently putting together and doing is to offer training for young people, for fresh graduates and so on, bordering around building an entrepreneurship mindset. That let's begin to empower them with knowledge right now, how you can begin to develop your mind like an entrepreneur. Even if you're thinking of going into gainful employment and you say you just want to build a career, but the qualities of an entrepreneur would even help you to advance and to thrive as a career person. And if your path is to run a business and to be an entrepreneur, then begin to develop those qualities at a young age.
Ron sees an abundance of talent in the younger generation of Nigerians. In his opinion, all that is required to help them fulfill this talent is the creation of an enabling environment that would provide support and encouragement to the next generation of business leaders.
There are a lot of talented young people in our great country, Nigeria. And sometimes all they need could be just some amount of support. Maybe from the government, maybe from their parents, maybe from friends. So everyone should be ready to play their part. For the government, for instance, a lot of businesses are suffering and policies are killing small businesses. So the government can begin to consider tax holidays for some of these new businesses, funding initiatives for some of these new businesses, training for some of these new businesses. And then if they play their part, let the people also play their part.
Ron Oseji is an entrepreneur with an unwavering determination to make an impact in the world of geographic information systems and to also play a part in grooming the next generation of Nigerian professionals.
My name is Ron Oseji. I'm the Managing Director of Open Stages Incentives Limited, and I am a future force.